What about the horse evolution series? Hi, it's Calvin Smith here, and welcome to Creation Basics, where our goal is to make God's creation part of your everyday conversation. So today's question is, what about the horse evolution series? For over 100 years, evolutionists have used certain fossil evidence as proof that horses have evolved over millions of years. For example, the World Book Encyclopedia of 2000 says that the horse is a good example of continuous evolution found in the fossil record. But this proof has been recognized by informed evolutionists as pretty sketchy for a while now. However, it's still heavily promoted. How did it start? Well, in 1879, a fossil expert, O.C. Marsh, gave a lecture in New York where he displayed some drawings that showed a continuous, unbroken sequence of evolution for the horse from its supposed earliest ancestor to its present form. He showed how supposedly the earliest horse started as a small creature that evolved into bigger forms, and showed the development of its teeth and legs and hooves, etc. These diagrams have been drawn, redrawn, and displayed in books, museums, etc. ever since. And they look pretty convincing, but what was it based on? Well, the first fossil in the series, the so-called dawn horse, the Eohippus, was named Hyracotherium by the paleontologist who first discovered it. And this was because he thought it looked like a modern-day hyrax, which is a rock badger, and had nothing to do with horses. Now, the fossils of the creatures were arranged with the smallest and oldest creatures, which means in the deepest layers, then gradually moving up to the younger rock layers as they supposedly evolved. But the problem with this is nowhere in the world do we find a series of these animals in rock layers in this order. These fossils were collected from all over the world and were arranged into this order on paper only. As a matter of fact, bones of the supposed oldest horses have been found at or near the surface, right next to modern horse fossils. Now, the horse evolution chart shows how horses used to have 4 toes, then 3, then 2, and finally 1. But a recent study published in the journal Royal Society Open Science stated this: "We provide evidence that the missing digits are in fact still present," lead author Nikos Salounias, a professor at the New York Institute of Technology, told AFP. "All 5 digits have merged to form the compact forelimb with hooves we know today," he said, comparing it to a tulip that never opens. See, there are variable traits in all living things, including horses. Also, some living things have control or regulatory genes that can be switched on or off. And sometimes traits may or may not be expressed because of this. So just because modern horses only have 1 toe doesn't mean that it doesn't have information for more. It just means multiple toes weren't expressed for some reason. And of course, genetic information can be lost over time as well. So what's the conclusion? Well, if you take the rock badger out of the picture, you're simply left with horse fossils in different sizes from all over the world, lined up in a row from smallest to biggest. But anyone could take a series of dog skeletons, let's say a teacup poodle and a chihuahua and a German shepherd or a Great Pyrenees, etc., and line them up in a row. What would it prove? Even the famous evolutionist Dr. Niles Eldredge, he was a curator at the American Museum of Natural History, has said this, quote, "I admit that an awful lot of that imaginary stories has gotten into the textbooks as though it were true. For instance, the most famous example still on exhibit downstairs in the American Museum is the exhibit on horse evolution prepared perhaps 50 years ago. That has been presented as literal truth in textbook after textbook. Now I think that is lamentable." So, what about the horse evolution series? Well, ask yourself this question. If the evidence for evolution is so good, why do museums and textbooks continue to display facts that have been thrown out by reputable scientists long ago? Maybe because there's not a lot else to show? Maybe at a time when people are waking up to the idea of fake news being propagated out there for ideological reasons, for people to realize that there's been a lot of fake science over the years as well. If you're appreciating this content, visit the answersingenesis.ca website for much more. Please consider donating to the ministry, and whatever platform you're accessing this on, it likely has some combination of features that allow you to subscribe or like or share, and we'd appreciate you taking the time to do so, because it's probably the best thing you can do to help us continue to do outreach. Until next time, I'm Cal Smith. Blessings to you.